Gear up, Scooter fam. So today I thought I'd do a continuation of the video from the last video, which was just giving my first update on the new ride, first full ride on the Nami Klima, and so I had put new brakes on there, and I have done a brake test since then. I haven't got to go on a full ride again, but I did do a brake test. I'll update you guys on that. But first things first, I wanted to make a slight correction on my Apollo Black Friday sale on Halloween. I was mistaken. It looks like it's November 1st. I guess it was really late, and I did a miscalculation because it was probably past midnight or whatever when I calculated. So in any case, it's November 1st, not Halloween. But I'll be up, on the 31st when it turns into the 1st. If they release that overnight, I will get all the information. Otherwise, it'll be the next day. So once I was covering, and they reported it overnight. Another one, I don't know if it was a Segway. Maybe they waited until that morning to update it. So as soon as it updates, you guys will know. Hopefully it'll be overnight, so I can cover it and have it ready to go for November 1st early morning. If not, I'll have to do an update that day, and I'll get it out as soon as I can. So I'll still likely get it out that day, but it may be a little bit later in the day, or certainly as soon as it comes out. So I may not have a lot of time to put a video together. I know some viewers have complained about that a little bit when I do them kind of real quickly, but it's just to get the information out as quickly as possible, and make sure that you guys are know what's going on. So I'll get that out ASAP. All the details as much as I can get on the pricing and how so forth, as much as I can gather. So I just wanted to make that note real quick. November 1st is the date of the Apollo Scooters Black Friday sale. All right, now I wanted to jump right into testing the new brakes. This is, of course, the continuation of the ride from yesterday. So this is just more of a continuation video. I had some more footage to share, so I thought I would share it and talk through some of the points that I didn't get to talk about. Yesterday I didn't get to test the brakes, so now I've gotten to test the brakes, and they're wonderful. So I'm pretty happy. They were easy to put on. Thanks to lots of videos, they were easy to bleed. Thanks to the video from Michael Shaw. Just really simple process. I've seen some videos that go to a much more in-depth bleeding process, but this particular one from Michael Shaw showed a pretty simple way to do it. So why not use the way he recommends? So I did. Once installed, bleed them that way. It was super easy. I couldn't believe how easy it was. You just you take off the top nut. You put the screw the deal down in there, the tube, and then depending on I've seen some that they sent me a kit and it had different types of setups, and they have syringes and they have a bucket and all these things like this, and I just used one of the syringes. I took the stopper out of the syringe. I just put a little bit of mineral oil in the syringe, completely open, and then just squeeze the brakes. So and then the bubbles come up when you're squeezing the brakes until no more bubbles come up, and the brakes get real tight and you're ready to go. So I took it out to the parking lot and see what kind of adjustments I needed to make, but I didn't need to make any adjustments. I like right where they are. I can stop with 2 fingers easily. It doesn't throw me. It's very easy to control. So that was a pleasant surprise. Like I said, I got them put on late yesterday, and don't want to go out at nighttime test on your brakes, in my opinion. So Uh, Just seems like not a good idea. So yeah, I went out today, tested my brakes, and I'm super happy with them. I did plenty of tests with them, and I didn't feel it, jerk. It was so nice, and I could just use two fingers and not have to pull all the way down to the bar to get it to stop. I'm just really happy. Um, didn't even make a single adjustment. So scooter is like fully operational now. I don't have, there's no current issues with the scooter whatsoever. So, um, yeah, very happy with the new brakes. Very happy with the guidance from Michael Shaw to help me get this fixed, and with fluid free rides finally for getting the solution. And they got it right on the first time. I mean, I helped out, and Michael helped me out, and we got it. We got it all done together, and it's done. So awesome. And I got experience changing brakes out, so that's something I was kind of looking forward to. I didn't know if it was going to be how difficult or complicated it was be. It would be. It didn't look so bad on the videos, but sometimes in person it's not that simple, and it was pretty simple. So pretty excited about that. Easy to do. Wouldn't mind doing that again. Probably have to do it from time to time just for maintenance. So awesome. Uh, Today I also did have to ride the Journey Max around a bit to bring the battery down. So when I started having brake issues with the Klima, I had gotten my other Journey Max scooters down below where I can just set them aside for a while, which is I drop them below 80%. And so as long as they're below 80%, which is one tick down, because they have 5 bars on the Journey Max. So once I get one tick down, I feel comfortable to store it, and that's where both of them are now. But when I started having brake issues with the Klima, I went ahead and charged up my other Journey Max to in preparation for having to run errands and stuff like that. So I had that one charged up, and I've been playing with the brakes on this one, and I have taken one trip with the Journey Max, but it wasn't a very long trip, and it wasn't enough to take a tick mark away on the battery. So I took a trip today, just kind of to take a small trip, just to get that extra tick off of the battery, so it'll drop it below 80%, and so I can set it aside, because I'm going to be riding the Klima Nami Klima a lot more now. So super excited about that. But I wanted to sort of some of the things I'm noticing about riding the Klima versus jumping back and forth now. Originally going from the Journey Max to the Klima is a whole different type of scooter. For all kinds of reasons. One, obviously, the suspension is night and day, and even though the Klima is much more powerful than the Journey Max, I still find the Journey Max a bit more difficult to control, and I don't think about it until I get back on, and I'm like, man, this accelerator is really jumpy. And it really is. But when I'm riding the Journey Max and riding the Journey Max only, I don't notice it. But when I go back from the Klima to the Journey Max, I'm like, wow. I know the Klima has sine wave controllers. It makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. Very easy to control the acceleration. You don't ever feel like you're gonna throw yourself off of it, at least in my opinion. It's not jumpy, So now the Journey Max has got some pickup, and it's a square wave. So the way that I understand and kind of makes sense to me, it's kind of like digital versus analog. With analog signal, it's either on or it's off. So if you think about like golf carts and so forth, if you push the thing, it throws you back because it just goes from off to on. There's no gradual increase, and that's the analog signal. It's on or it's off. It's 0 or it's 1. And the digital signal is a wave. And so the sine wave controllers versus the square wave uh, allow for a smoother up and down. So it's just easy to control. The dead zone bothers me none. Uh, maybe it's different people coming from different types of throttles and experience, but going from a thumb throttle to the paddle throttle, and with a slight dead zone, just bothers me not at all. The only thing I will say, as far as control, the only thing I will say, it seems to be, maybe this is just early because I'm getting used to it, but my hand cramps a bit more using the paddle throttle versus the thumb throttle. And it might be because I'm having to do this a bit more. With the other, I'm just kind of turning my wrist a little bit. I'm not really doing a lot with the joint itself. So my hand just feels a little more crampy, quicker. Like it just gets pretty, uncomfortable feeling. Pretty, and not too long of riding it around. So just one of the things I noticed even when doing my brake test, I was like, it really does. It is a little bit different. Maybe it's just getting used to using that style of thumb throttle. So, we'll see how that goes. But right away, that's just one of the things I noticed. That fatigue. My thumb seems to start fatiguing my hand a little bit in that area. So, not a big deal. Nothing that's going to prevent me from wanting to ride it for sure. But just a little something that I noticed. Other than that, like I said, the control of the acceleration, it actually riding the Journey Max today took me a little while to get used to. Like it's jumping from one to the other is just so much different, and even though I've done it before, it's like I said, it's going back and forth is different from just getting on the Journey Max, and the Journey Max is really the only scooter I've ever really ridden. The first scooter technically the first scooter I ever rode was my neighbor's scooter. He had a really cheap scooter, cheaper than the Journey Max. It was like the Hover Max from Walmart, and $200-300 I think. Rear motor only, solid tires. Looks a little bit like the Journey Max, like a rental scooter type setup. But in any case, he let me ride it, and I'd never jumped on a scooter before. I went down the street, back, and that was it. Not very far. So I didn't want to mess a scooter up. I wasn't really prepared to ride a scooter. I didn't have any real solid shoes on. I was wearing some like loose Crocs or something, which I don't like to do on a scooter because sometimes you got to jump on and off. So I don't want to, I want something a little bit more, secure my foot a little bit more if I'm going to jump on and off something. So I usually wear my Adidas, and I probably should get better shoes for riding, but right now I'm using my Adidas Superstars, which conform to my feet really well, like I said. And if I have to jump off and jump on, I'm used to moving around in those shoes pretty good, so not a big deal. But yeah, once again, it's so much different going back. So I was literally having trouble finding the sweet spot on the throttle and the feel for it on the Journey Max. And I'm like, wow, is it really this jumpy? I couldn't imagine someone not riding a scooter like the Journey Max being their first scooter, especially if they just start off in like, a sports mode on the top mode. And it would, it's going to be really uncomfortable. So in any case, yeah, that's just it's night and day. I've only got a left brake on the Journey Max, which is a rear brake and then region brakes in both. So which works out well, but and it won't really throw you because the front brake won't lock up. But it will bring you to a stop and push you forward. So obviously it can. You're standing up, way upright, and you slam the brakes on it. Any scooter, you're probably gonna go. But yeah, this one was you know, not not a big deal. These brakes on the Klima are brakes, and they will stop you. So they will throw you quick, and you've got a front and a rear. So you lock up the front, and yeah, you're gonna go. Uh, but right now they're perfect. They're both just tuned perfectly. I was gonna test them and see where I wanted them, but they're just like they're not too quick. They're not too slow. I could pull the brake. I don't have to just yank it, and it's not so touchy that I have to, like a little bit on the Journey Max. I barely have to touch that brake to get it to start slowing. It's so touchy. I wanted something in the middle, and that's exactly where these are set at. I can squeeze the brake a little bit and not worried about having to go be thrown. And if I need to, I just squeeze a little more and come to a very good stop without feeling unbalanced. So it's very nice. It stops really nicely. I didn't have one bad stop today, which it was really tough. I was having lots of them before I got them fixed. So I was having some questionable stops and stuff that was I was coming to a stop a little abruptly, or not prepared. It just it was so touchy on that. I was nervous, but now I've got them all fixed, and I'm super happy driving them around. One more thing I was going to talk about is the one complaint that I have. I do have a small complaint about the scooter itself. Finally, it's not a big deal. Certainly not anything that's going to make me hate the scooter. But one thing I think that could be improved on maybe future versions of the Namis uh, is the screen. It's pretty small, uh, and I like it. It's kind of stylish the way it looks. The and I'm actually okay with the size of the screen. My screen on my, which is, if you want to call it that, on my Journey Max is just a very cheap in the you know bar screen, nothing special. But this looks kind of like a small miniature smartphone sitting right there with a nice little display, and they put a lot of things on that display, and they make it really cool, um, and it looks really cool. But the problem is when I'm riding it, if I get the slightest bit of glare, I can't see anything on the screen. So, and I've got that glare protector, as you can see, and everything, but I can't see anything on the screen at all, um, and including the speed limit, or speed limit, the speedometer. So, including the speedometer, which on the Journey Max, when it's kind of when it's sunny and the sun's hitting the display directly, I can't see a lot, but the speedometer is big enough. The speed itself is large enough that it shows. And in my opinion, this one it just isn't large enough. It's it takes up a small part of the display. You got circles around it that are really cool, but they don't really provide anything when you're riding. The other stuff, the little information, I can check it when I get a chance, or wait, I'm in a shaded place or something, and I can glance down at it when I have some good visibility of the screen. But it's just as is tough to see anything when there's glare, including the how fast I'm going. So that it's a small gripe, but that is the one thing that I just was kind of like, okay, I can't see anything, and I'd like to see how fast I'm going. So if they could just increase, you don't have to increase the whole display necessarily, but just, my opinion, get rid of those little circles and just make a larger speedometer speed display. So that's my one thing that I wanted to harp on. Everything else, I mean, and even that's not a big deal, but just something I noticed most of the time I have decent visibility. It's only when I get the glare, really bad glare, um, that I can't see anything at all. You can kind of tell a little bit in the video when there's more glare. It's a little more difficult to see, but in person, it's really tough when the sun's right directly on it. Okay, finally, last thing. For what writing I did do today, I wrote around in S mode the whole time. So I wanted to test my brakes from uh, S mode, whatever that is, sports mode or super or whatever it is. I wanted to test the brakes in that mode, and I wanted to get a better feel for that mode because that's the mode I'm probably going to start riding in. Or I already have started riding in, but I just haven't went on any real rides. So I wanted to test it in sports mode and get that out of the way. And there is a slight difference. There's a slight difference between the modes, but it's so slight that it's not hard to control. So I'm perfectly comfortable moving up to S mode. I am curious about the range. So far, I might have updated, but I'm at this point today. I'm at 36 something miles with exactly 50% battery left. So not bad. That's pretty good. And I'm sure that moving up to S mode, and when I start going out to the streets as opposed to just a bike lane that I've been riding down recently, that my range will go down a little bit. But I'll update you guys as that goes along. I'm still not going to drive around in crazy X turbo mode or whatever. But just as far as my daily stuff, I know I'm not the most risky scooter rider, but I do enjoy riding the scooter, and I don't necessarily need to use every mile per hour on a daily basis that it can produce. So pretty happy with that. Like I said, easy to control. The sine wave controllers are awesome. I'm sure I'll be able to control all of them. I tried them all out. None of them threw me off the scooter, but some were just a little touchier, a little bit more touchier on the throttle. So S mode is decent. It is a slight difference. I can tell, just with each increment, it is a little bit more aggressive, but just slightly. So coming from the Journey Max, which is fairly aggressive in the throttle, not as powerful, but fairly aggressive. It's not too difficult of a change going from that to S mode on the Klima. But that's it for me today. I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you enjoyed this content, found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And happy riding.